Hello again and welcome. It is Wednesday, January 14th today. It's been a while since I filmed something for this channel, for the business. Not too long, but a while. I know in my last video I started saying how I wanted to get more regular after that last video. It didn't happen this week, but I'm not going to promise it for next week, but I'm trying for next week to get back on my schedule. I'll explain why basically in a minute. It's not that I'm doing nothing, not very much for the business right now, but has to do with, again, if you've been watching, and I don't know why this would be your first vlog of mine that you're watching, but if it is, I'll give a little recap here. So this is, like I said, January. Back in November, my father-in-law passed away, and then my mother-in-law had to come and live with us for a while, and we got her into her own little, senior apartment. She's technically living independently, although she does have help coming in, but she's not in assisted living. It's just a senior apartment in a senior community. But anyway, we're still acclimating her to that. We're going over there a lot. My husband goes there every day. I go there, most of the time with him. So we're still doing a lot of that. That's still going on. Then also their house, we're working on, getting everything out of there so we can sell the house. And that's going to take a while because especially the garage is full of a lot of stuff. So we started going through all of that. Like we were going through the house stuff, which most of that's done. But the garage is another whole other project. So basically every Saturday we've been going down and dealing with that. And then what we do is, we throw out the obvious stuff that is garbage, and then basically the rest of it, if we don't have someone else to give it to or whatever, we're just bringing it up to our house right now, and then we're going to kind of sort it, here, which I've been doing, which is I'm going to get to that. But so we're accumulating lots of stuff in our house now, right now, and going through it. So I've been working on that basically, is going through, especially because 2 weekends ago it was a big kitchen stuff, and my kitchen was full, and I had to what am I keeping, what's going into her in her new apartment because she can't have everything. What am I keeping? What am I donating, or what are we donating? What are we trying to sell or whatever? Kind of making decisions or whatever about that. So had to go through that. Now we're starting to bring the garage stuff up here, and other odds and ends. So trying to get that all taken care of. That's what I've been working on a lot. Sporadically throughout this though, I've been trying to organize stuff for my business because it's kind of my regroup period and trying to plan. Obviously I wanted this done earlier, but because of everything going on, but I'm trying to plan for the rest of the year. One of those things now, again, if you've been watching my channel, I've been doing vendor events. I was doing them the last half of last year, seriously. I had done some before that randomly, and I'm starting to fill my schedule for this coming year. Like I said, I was taking a break for now. Right now, as far as the ones that I have actually confirmed and paid for and everything, I don't have one until July is my first one, but I have one in May, and I'll talk about those because I have a list of them that I'm going to go through later. But so right now, July is the one that I absolutely have. I probably have the one in May that I'm going to talk about. I've applied for that one. I don't find out about it until February, I think they said. I don't know when in February, sometime in February. There. And then I talked about, I think in my last video, I had one that I was maybe doing in April, but I haven't technically went to pay for that one yet. I have until the end of the month to get half off. So I think I'm still doing it. It's a nice ease back into it. It's a smaller event, and it's not a huge booth that I have to set up. It's just a table. So I think it'll be a good transition back into the, the game. So I think I'm gonna do that one. So probably April is what I'm looking at, is when I'm gonna start again. And May for a full booth. But we'll talk more about that when I get there. But anyway, I have that starting to, think about that. That is a big chunk of what I'm, trying to plan. But I'm also, in general, so, part of that is I need to start making stuff too. I mean, I still have some stuff left over from last year, but I have to start making both stuff that I already made last year, like remake kind of stuff, and then also add to it, like do more products this year. And to go with that, I think I mentioned in the last video or the couple of videos before, I started learning hand embroidery last year, but that was before I did my vendor events. I haven't had a chance to do it much since then, or at all, pretty much. I have a bunch of unfinished projects. In fact, they were supposed to be gifts for Mother's Day for my mom and my grandma, and I didn't finish those in time. And then I was like, well, I'll get them finished, you know, at some point and give them to you. And I was gonna give them to the Christmas, and didn't have them for Christmas either. So maybe they'll be next year, next Mother's Day thing, or earlier. We'll see. But anyway, so I mean, that's that. So I started learning that, and I want to incorporate that into my products. And I'm starting to brainstorm, like, what can I make as far as that goes. And then also kind of related, so something I acquired in this whole, like, you know, other house that we're cleaning out, because my mother-in-law can't use it anymore anyway. In fact, she had two, and one of them went to some other family member. Sewing machine. So I now have a sewing machine, which I never had before and never used before. But I'm determined to learn that this year. I've started already, like, watching videos, and especially the ones about my specific machine and how to use it. I haven't actually tried yet. I opened it up and everything, and like, something I'm noticing is the foot pedal for that one kind of sticks if you push it down all the way. So I don't know if there's something I can do about that, or if I should just get a new foot pedal or something. So I have to kind of work on that before I start actually using it, because I'm pretty sure that's gonna, like, ruin my projects if I accidentally push it down too far and it's, you know, it just keeps going. So that's gonna irritate me. So I need to fix that somehow before I actually start doing stuff. But I haven't actually, like, sewn anything. Like, there's technically thread in there still from the last time she used it, but so I could, like, practice or whatever. But I need to fix the foot pedal first, so that's first step. But then I can make certain sewing things too. I mean, I want to keep it, for now at least, into the same sort of stuff I was doing. Like, I make, like, fabric, like, signs and stuff like that, like wall hangings, and I was even thinking door hangers as well, because I make those circular wooden door hangers. And because someone, I think it's been mentioned to me a few times, but I know one in particular, there was one lady who was looking at them, and she's like, oh, I think these are too heavy, the wood ones, because she was going to put them on, like, a command hook and was worried they were going to fall down. So having a fabric option might be better for her. So doing something like that, and even if they are still circular, but circular is going to be a little more complicated than anything straight. So I don't know if I can technically do that yet, but I can still do, like, wall hangings with fabric, and then either do embroidery or, like, an applique kind of thing. So with my lettering, because I'm a lettering artist. Again, if you haven't seen any of my videos before, I try to mention that in every one so you can kind of have an idea of what I do. Sorry if you think it's repetitive, but anyway, so that's, you know, something I want to do. I have other fabric related things that I was going to paint on, but now I can embroider instead, which is probably better, or sew something on them. So again, as long as I can get the sewing machine that is now mine working correctly, or, you know, maybe I'll get a new one, because I've always kind of wanted one and I never had one before. I never really learned how to sew, you know, other than maybe, like, the basic stitch, you know. But anyway, so I'm looking for ideas of things I can make, and I want to start making them as well. I want to start learning the sewing thing very soon so I can, you know, get that going. So as far as making new products, hopefully going to be starting that soon. That's what I'm trying to say. Even if I start with the stuff that I can do, like the painting and whatever, I need to start doing more of that, getting those ready. And also, because I'm going to be starting with spring events, start with spring related stuff, but then I do want to start getting ahead of, like, the holidays, like Halloween and Christmas and fall and summer. And if I do a 4th of July event this year, you know, some of that kind of stuff, I want to start getting that going. So again, getting ahead of the game, hopefully this year, so it's not so overwhelming. Anyway, so that's what my, you know, my regroup period is supposed to be about from the vendor events. As far as everything else, I mean, I want to start advertising stuff so I can start getting more like work outside of vendor events. So I got to work on all that. I do also want to make so at my vendor events, I used to have a video. Well, I had my iPad showing my YouTube videos for my main channel. Again, that's Shrush Design itself. I do tutorials on that channel about lettering and painting, and well, not so much lettering because I want to do that on a separate channel, but I show off things that I've made lettering, or I kind of do them, but I don't explain it as much. So I do signs and window painting and murals and, you know, that kind of stuff, like larger scale stuff. And I make videos about that, or like the materials that I use and software that I use and stuff on that channel. But anyway, I also need to start making videos for that channel. But anyway, I used to have my iPad at my events where I would show some of my video tutorials, where I could show like, oh, I do this, like this is what I'm capable of, and you're seeing me actually do it. Like I'm not just selling someone else's work, like I'm actually doing it. And I have pictures up in my booth and stuff that also show. But I would like to work on a better video though, because right now what I'm doing is just showing my YouTube videos. And sometimes that doesn't translate very well. Like I want things like to be more of a kind of an advertisement while people are in my booth, like a video, like a short clip of me painting a window or something, and then like, yes, I paint windows and this is how you can have me do your windows, and you know, that kind of stuff all together, and then have it kind of cycle through everything I do, not just one thing for that video. So I have to work on that as well during my regrouping period. So I have a lot of things to do. I think I mentioned in the last video, I was going to do, like I'm trying to get this, something like this done this year, at least one. But there, you know, I want to get into a place that can sell my items for me, basically. Like there's wholesale, which is a whole other thing, which I also want to get into. But then there's like vendor mall type places, or I don't know, what's another word for them, something like that, like a crafter collection, whatever. So the problem is a lot of them in my area are like already stocked up with people, and until there's an opening, I'm not gonna be able to get in. Now I should probably start putting myself on wait lists, except I don't have stuff to put in it yet, so that's when I have to work on stuff to put in it, you know. So I have to get that going. But that was something I was thinking of doing, because there was one opening, like a grand opening, like brand new, kind of in the area. It's not really that close, but it's kind of close to me. And I thought about doing that, like getting in there, like as they open, but I wasn't able to do it. So not doing that right now. Probably a good thing, because I wouldn't have had time. So, but that's that. So that's kind of in the background. Like maybe something will come up where I can do that. Again, hopefully I'll be ready. So I got to start making stuff, like I said. So the problem with me, if you haven't heard this from me before, everything I make is unique. Like I don't make like, I mean, I can make similar things, but I don't have any like printed work. Although I do want to get into that maybe this year. Like where I can just like I can make something once, like draw it actually, and then like print it. And print it on, you know, a sticker and a art print and a greeting card and stuff like that. I do want to get into that, but I don't have anything like that right now. It's stuff that I'm making one by one, unique, you know? So it's hard to build up an inventory of that, especially when people are buying your stuff, because then you got to replenish it, you know? And because I was so busy last year while I was doing events, and then especially at the end of the year when all this was starting to happen, you know, I wasn't able to do a lot of replenishing most of the time. So that was a challenge. But that's also, so this is what I'm trying to incorporate into my planning of this year, is trying not to keep myself too busy. Like finding that sweet spot, you know, where if things do happen out of my control, outside of my business, I can still keep things going, you know, where it's not going to overwhelm me. Now, something that made that a little easier, and again, I hate saying this, I mentioned this in other videos, and again, if this is your first video, I used to have a cat. We had to put him down right before Christmas. He was 19 and a half, almost 19 and a half. And he had some issues, but when he was alive still, you know, he was taking up a lot of my time, where, again, I don't mean to say it like this, but like, you know, it's just constant, like, are you okay today? Like, do I need to take you in? you know, like where I don't have to worry about that anymore. So that was another big thing that was kind of again, I don't know, I don't want to say this way, but like it was in my way, you know, like where now I don't have to worry about that anymore. And I can focus more on getting my stuff done. Now, another problem I have now, since I'm mentioning this, I was so busy last year, but I was actually more productive in a way because like it was easy to prioritize. Like I only have time for this, so I'm doing this. Like this is what I'm doing the most right now. This is what I'm doing. Now I have time, even though we are doing stuff outside the house, like I said, that is taking up some of my time, but I have more time to do something for my business right now. And now I'm like, what do I do? Because I have all these things that have all been put on the back burner, you know? Now, how do I schedule? So that's another thing I'm trying to figure out now, which I should probably transition into that, talking about that. So, I've been trying to work on the last couple of weeks some, you know, planning for this year coming up. Well, this year that we're in now. And I still got a lot of work to do in that regard. Like I'm not anywhere near ready to like really show off like what I'm ready to do. But I do kind of want to show you what I have been working on. And I think the rest of this video, after I'm done babbling today, we're going to actually do something together where I do like a planning kind of exercise and show you how I'm doing this or whatever. So, where do I start? Kind of started talking about some of the stuff, but last video, I think it was the one before, we went over my goals. I still have that here. One thing I did want to say about this is, so I have a goal for my Facebook followers, for my regular Shrush Design, like the tutorial, like the main channel I was talking about before, that version on Facebook, that same thing, where it's not my local business, which is what this is based on. It's my tutorial business or whatever. And that's how I started. Well, at the time I made this goal, so I had 3 tiers of goal. The first tier, I had 150 followers I wanted because I only had 95. As of today, I have 102. I don't know where they're coming from. Like there's some reel on Facebook that I made at some point that is filtering people in. And I don't even know which one it is because when I go to my notification, like it says, you know, 2 names, because I think it can fit the last 2 or whatever, liked your page from your reel, but then you click on the notification and it takes you to like one of their pages, one of their profiles, and not the reel that they're talking about. I'm like, well, what reel are they coming from? You're not telling me. And it's hard to find like in the insights in Facebook. So I don't even know where they're coming from, but they're coming from something. Like they're filtering in, like it's going like that, not that it's going viral, because I looked at like the views of my reels that I had, and I'm like, well, it could be this one, I guess. It's kind of that one's got kind of a bunch of views, you know. I don't know which one it is though. Also, I should be putting more reels out, honestly. That's another thing I have to do this year, and it was a goal that I failed already, is social media daily. I mean, I guess I didn't say when I was going to start, but I didn't start in January, that's for sure. Like January 1st. When I made this original list, I think I was starting with, okay, I had things posted both days now, because I think it was like the 3rd or something that I was filming that. I don't think I've posted anything since, and it's the 14th. So I want to get to the point where I'm like, at least on my main channel, you know, posting something every day on my YouTube and my Facebook, my Instagram, my TikTok, stuff like that. I'm not there yet though. But that was a goal, like for daily, like every day post something. That didn't happen. But like I said, it didn't really say when I was starting. So once I start, hopefully I can do that for the rest of the year. I guess that's why I'm kind of scared to start. But I could also do it like in a streak form. Like how many days in a row can I do it? Maybe that's kind of how I should have made my goal. But I said this is probably going to evolve over time. But anyway, the one thing I did want to talk about, I had 95 at the time of making this goal sheet for 2026, and I have 102. And I'm shooting for 150 for my first level. So I think I can make that this year. Might even come from that reel without me doing anything. So I had 150, 300, and 500. So Can I get up to 500 from this momentum that I have in the beginning of the year? We'll find out. But anyway, I think that's what I wanted to say here. I guess there's one more thing. So I had a one-off goal, like just like there's some tiers of this one, but just I want to do this, was do a wedding event. I had one opportunity to do one that I did like inquire about. I mentioned this in another video, but it's in March, and I don't think I'm ready to do one in March. Just that. On top of that, it is a cheaper one, and I'm looking at it for next year, $325 for like a standard booth. And you know, right now I don't have the money because I have all this other stuff I'm paying for, the vendor events that I'm doing. It's like a lot of them are like the beginning of the year. It's really bad. Like I don't know how I managed to do it last year, where I started kind of in like summer trying to find events, and I was able to get in some. But this year, like everything's like, oh, you have to apply in January. I'm like, oh God, like I don't have enough money for all of these right now, you know? So that's another thing. Plus there is a big wedding show that happens at the end of January that I've been looking at for years and years and years. That one's definitely not happening this year. And I don't know if it's gonna happen next year, but I do want to get into that one if possible. It depends on whatever wedding event I do, depends on how that one goes if I start doing the bigger one. But what I was going to say is, okay, so and I think I mentioned this in the last video maybe, there is a person that I'm still following who did vendor events, and when I was first starting out doing them, I did one of her events, and then I was going to do another one, and I ended up canceling for a few reasons, one of them being I wasn't so sure about her. I mentioned this again in other videos, like I said. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I will list it in the pinned comment in the description and everything to let you know that this is the one I talked about this in. But she is trying to organize a wedding event. It's going to be a much smaller scale, and also judging by the way she does her other events, like part of my problem with her is it's like the tier of vendor events that includes things like the MLM companies. I know you've heard me mention this before. It's just I don't have a problem with that, like people who do that or anything, you know. It's just I don't really fit in with that type of stuff. And I also noticed when she started talking about it, because she's trying to like put her feelers out and see if people want to do it, and I did respond. Because I'm in her little Facebook group that she has. That's how she plans events. But anyway, a lot of them were like, well, I work with like this makeup company, and you know, I could do makeup for weddings, and you know, or people could buy makeup for weddings, or you know, and you know, again, I do original stuff. I have my own company. Like I'm not doing that. And I think there were a few other people that were kind of in my tier, I don't know what to call it, my group, my type of business that responded as well. So that were more like independent and actual, like an actual wedding vendor, like they actually make something that's for a wedding. So we'll see how this goes. Basically what I'm trying to say, she emailed me the application. I haven't filled it out yet. It's for November 2027. So we're talking next year at this point, not even this November. And she said until this November, like the cost is, I think it's $200, but it'll go up after November or whatever. So she's trying to get people interested. It's also nearby me. Like it's a place really close to me that's going on. So that's good. Like this other one that I was talking about in March, that was in Green Bay. That's far away. But this one is like the next town over. And it, like I said, I think it would be a good place for me to start breaking into that industry. That's what I'm trying to say. As far as what I do, because I had tried doing my very first vendor event. I tried showcasing my wedding stuff. And I got a few people that were kind of interested, but mostly it's like, it's very rare to catch those kind of people only in your booth, basically. And so now, like, I do advertise that I do wedding stuff. Like, I have pictures of this wedding stuff I've done, and people have asked me, like, oh, you do weddings? Yeah, I do, you know, this kind of stuff. And then they take my card. I'm sure I'll never hear from them because that's how it usually goes. But, like, my first one, I really advertised only, like, wedding stuff. And it's not like a wedding event, like, you know, a vendor event. It's not for wedding people. It's for everything, you know. So it's really hard to, like, catch that crowd. So that's why I want to get into a wedding show. But my problem is they're too expensive, and I'm not quite ready to, like, show off my wedding stuff yet. So I'm hoping with this smaller one, which also is, because her events usually are just a table. This one's like a 10 by 10 booth. She's still going to give us a table, but we have 10 by 10 space to, like, put our stuff in at this one. So it's more useful because the table ones don't work out very well for me in general. Like, I'll do them occasionally, but especially if we're talking about wedding stuff, like, I have a bunch of signs and stuff I have to bring with me to show what I'm doing. Like, I don't have room for that on a table. So it's looking kind of promising is what I'm saying, but that's not until 2027. Also, if I do a bigger one before that, I don't know if doing a small one like that is going to be worth it. So that's where I'm kind of, like, on the fence right now. But it might not happen this year is what I'm trying to say. It might happen next year. I have a light on the end of the tunnel for next year for that, but not quite this year. But there's other ones going on in fall that are bigger that maybe I might be able to get into, possibly. I'd like to, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But that's progress on my goals is what I'm trying to say here. And the rest of them, I'm not really anywhere near right now. Yeah, not really. So I just wanted to give an update on that. Now, like I said, I'm trying to organize stuff. Like on my computer, and the physical stuff I really need to organize, but that's not happening yet. That might be a video on here coming up soon. But I'm trying to, like, I'm making notes. I'm trying to, these is all like vendor stuff that I'm, which again is a focus because I know I have those coming up for sure. But, like, I'm trying to get all my information organized and ready. So it's what I've been working on. I'm also, like I said, trying to clean up my computer. Like, my desktop is just full of, like, icons everywhere, and I'm trying to, like, get rid of stuff I don't need anymore and get better about, like, my digital clutter, basically. So I'm trying to get a system going for that. Again, I'm trying to, like, use this regrouping period to, like, prepare for a possible busy season this year later, you know. So that's what I'm trying to work on. So I have a list of my events that I'm doing. The one that I mentioned in May, that I said I applied for, and it's with a company that I've worked with before that's doing it. And I normally get into their events, but I don't do their spring one. I do their fall one because they have spring and fall. I did their fall one the last 2 years. So I applied for the spring one this year. I wanted to do the spring one the year before, but 2 reasons. Because I had done the fall one the previous year again. And then I was like, oh, they do both. Maybe I'll do both next year, the spring and the fall. But the spring ended up landing on my husband's birthday, for one. And also, I was also taking a break last year, but in a different way. Like, the beginning of last year. I was burnt out last year. And again, I don't know if I would really... This year is just, I'm taking an intentional break. And I'm already like, oh, I gotta start again, you know? Last year it was, I don't even know if I want to do this anymore. But I ended up going back into it, and it was good. But that's the reason I didn't do their spring one, basically, was I wasn't ready, and it was on my husband's birthday. This year, it's the same weekend. It's the day before my husband's birthday. Even if it was on his birthday, it would have been fine. He would have been like, oh, I don't care, you know. But I kind of used it as an excuse last year. But anyway, so I signed up for it. Now, the fall one, they don't have the date set technically for it, but if they do it the same weekend they did last year, I might not be able to do it. I could go into a long story about this, but it has to do with my family does a camping trip. My parents and my sister and her husband, they've been doing it every year. And not every year, but most years have at least come up for like a day or like a night where I stay overnight. But this year I said this is the first year I could actually go the whole time. And they're shooting for, because they have to rent a cabin through our state park system, and my mom's in a wheelchair, so they get like an ADA cabin. So this is like you have to like apply for it in January. Like they have a list of people that are eligible for it or whatever. My mom's on that list. It's a whole thing. Like I said, I could talk a lot about this, but they're very limited on the weekends they can take or whatever, or the time they can take. And they were shooting for, because they had done that weekend last year, that one again. So if it's the same weekend again, I'm not going to be able to do the fall event. And I'd rather go camping, because I haven't done that yet for the whole time with my family. I don't get to spend a lot of quality time with my family. It's been years and years and years since I have. So I would like to do that. But if it ends up being a different weekend, this event, the fall one, then I could do both. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to. That's fine, because I did the fall the last 2 years. Now I'm going to do the spring. Maybe the next year I'll do both. We'll see how it goes. I don't even know if I'm getting into the spring. Maybe I won't do either on this year. But that's fine. Even if I don't get into the spring, I'm still not going to, not go camping because of it. So, but anyway, that was the one that I'm like, okay, I applied for that one, but I don't know if I'm getting in yet. Then I have the July one. I think I started talking about this. It's in Beaver Dam. You know what? I didn't even finish writing this down on this one. I started writing like down the time it is, the setup time, and how much it was and how much I've paid already, and other information about all the events. And another thing I was writing down was the drive time, like how much time it takes for me to get there. And this one I didn't write down. I know it's like, I think it's like an hour away, maybe even more, like an hour and a half. So between an hour and a half, I think, to get there. It's a 1-day thing. I'm pretty sure the setup is also like only that morning and not the day before. Because if it was the day before, even if it's not though, I'm already considering staying the night, like in the area. We'll see how that goes. But I have the ability to do that now because of my cat again, because I couldn't go anywhere very long with my cat being sick. So now that he's not around anymore, I can take an occasional like night away from the house, and both my husband and I can like go somewhere, because we haven't been on vacation in years because of this. But we also have his mother right now that, we can't really leave her right now, but maybe by the summer we can. We'll see how that goes. But I could take, a night myself, or a couple nights myself, or whatever. So I'm thinking of doing that. But if it was one of those events where you have the setup day before, that would be nice, because then I could go up there, set up, stay in the hotel for the night, wake up at a reasonable hour, and then go to my event, because I think it starts at 9. I didn't write it down. I think it was 9 it starts, and I think the setup technically that day is 6 a.m. So if I'm leaving from my house instead of staying there, I'd have to wake up very early to get there. And I can do that. I've done that. I did that at the Kohler event last year, which was similar. I was an hour away, and I had to leave at like, what was it? Like 4:30. I think I ended up leaving at 4:30, but I was going to leave a little late, like 4:45 or whatever. But anyway, I'd have to do something like that again, which I can do. I've done before. I used to work weird shifts when I had a job, so I have no problem with that. It's just I'd kind of rather stay in a hotel, but we'll see how that goes. But if it would, like I was saying, it would be nice if I could set up the tent and everything the night before, and then stay there in the area, wake up, at 6 instead, or like 5:30 or whatever, then drive over there and set up the rest of my product and stuff before the event. And then, it's nice. And whereas I do everything beforehand, that's a lot, especially if I'm driving in for an hour. So we'll see how that goes. I wasn't really thinking of all that when I applied for this event. So, and it's in the summer. It's like hot. I mean, the morning is probably not going to be that bad, but the day is going to be hot. Like taking it down and everything's going to be a pain. But that's that. But that one has been on my calendar since last year. I applied for that last year sometime. But anyway, so I'm doing that. Then I just recently got word. Well, I just recently applied too. So the 2 events I did last year for this company were both good for me, and I wanted to do more with them. And I'm doing the exact same events this year, basically, what I'm trying to say. Because they have smaller events and they have larger events. These are both one of their smaller ones. Well, the one's kind of a medium. But their larger ones are, I do want to get into those eventually. And I'm shooting for trying to get into their holiday one this year. But they have 3 big ones that they do throughout the year. Like they're 2 days and they're like over a weekend. And they're indoor. So they have one actually going on the end of this month for the winter, which is already waitlisted. I'm not going to be able to get in that one anyway. Then they have a spring one, which is actually the same weekend. Well, I didn't mention this. There's another small event that I might do, which is the same weekend as their spring one. And I still technically could apply for their spring one, but I'm probably not going to. What I'm trying to get at is they're more expensive. And also, they're a 2-day event, and they are kind of, I don't know how the standard is technically for it, but they have, for instance, they have like a booth contest, like how decorated is your booth, and, makes it look nice for the customers. And I'm not quite ready for that, like that kind of level of like cohesion with my booth. And I feel like I don't fit in, I'm trying to work on that for their holiday version, which is in November, I believe, not December. So they have like those 3. They have the winter, the spring, and then the holiday at the end of the year. I'm shooting for the holiday one. I'd like to get to the point in a couple of years where I'm doing all their events. That'd be awesome. But right now, I have these. They also had another event that they used to do that this year they ended up, because it was like a joint event with someone else. I don't know exactly who. And that person is now just running it alone. Like they're not anymore. So, and I didn't do that one last year. And I was thinking of doing it this year. But now, I could do it with the other person. But I'm like, I don't know. Never mind. I'm not sure about that. So I only applied for the 2 I did last year that were smaller, like I said. And I got into both of them. So the night market one, which is it's at night. It's 4 to 9 p.m. in the summer, August, at a craft beer garden. I did that last year. I enjoyed it. At the time, it was like my best event that I had. And I think I could do well at it again. So I'm doing that again. And like I said, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the location and everything. It was great. So I'm going to be doing that again. The other one I'm doing, that's in August. The other one I'm doing is the October Fall at the Fairgrounds one. But this one has changed since last year. Last year was the first year they did it. This year they changed the location. It's at a different fairground. Like last year it was at Racine County Fairgrounds. This year it's at Jefferson County Fairgrounds, which is, in a different direction, but about the same amount of time away. Like it's a 45 to 60 minute drive from my house, which is about the same, like I said, as the one I went to. Maybe a little bit more. I really liked this one last year too. After the first hour bothered me, but after the first hour, it became my next event that I did even better at. And this was it blew the other one where I had like the one I was just talking about, the night market last year. I had all my sales records topped. This one topped them again. And then it also, later on last year, I got topped again in a different event, but these were consistent. But the problem with these is the fee is more, because they are more put together and prestigious, and people know about them and things like that. They have like a following of customers that come and stuff like that. So that's the good thing about them. But the fee is more, you know? So what I'm saying is with those, I never made my fee back. I'm hoping to do that this year. If I don't, then I'm probably not going to do at least the fall one probably next year. I should make my fee back though. I think as long as I can get enough stuff made, and I'm working on that. But so it's this, and the price didn't go up. It's the same as last year. So the night market was $80, and I've paid that all together now. Everything's done with there. The fall at the Fairgrounds one is $125, which it was last year. And at the time of application, I paid half, so I paid $62.50 so far. I have another $62.50 that's due in August. So that one's half paid for, but it's pretty much paid for. But also this year, a difference is it's a 12 by 10 space. Like last time we had a 10 by 10, and I just brought my tent. Now I have a 12 by 10 space, so I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I could still bring my tent, I think, and then do like more space around it or whatever, or in front of it. We'll see. Otherwise I might just make it all indoor too. But I'm kind of curious how the layout's going to go with that one, because it's not the same place. And I talked about this event on both a video on this channel, which is probably going to be the same video I mentioned earlier that I was going to mention, because I went over my past events on that video. I don't know which number it was. I should write that down because I reference it a lot. But it'll be in the pinned, where I talk about it more. It'll be in the pinned comment and the description, like I said earlier. But I also talked about it on my main channel too, like a full video about it. And I don't know the number of that one either, because I'm doing a vendor event series on that channel. I don't remember what episode number it is either, but I'll have that linked if you're interested in that one too. It's similar, but like that one's more in depth about that event rather than all of my events. So if you want to see that. But anyway, so this one is, it's not that far away. I don't necessarily have to stay out there, but I could. It's kind of near Madison, basically. I mean, it's like halfway in between Madison and here, and I'm Milwaukee-ish here, Milwaukee and Waukesha. So that's where it's located. I could stay somewhere out there for the night because they have a setup the day before, which I liked last time. It was nice to have where we drove down to Racine, or Union Grove technically, to set up the tent and the tables and stuff. And then the next day I went alone, because my husband came with me that day. I went alone and just took my products and put them up before the event, and I had plenty of time to do that, and it was nice. So they're doing that again this year, but at the other place. So I don't know, I might consider maybe possibly doing in a hotel that weekend too. We'll see how that goes, because the event is on Sunday and the setup is Saturday and or Sunday beforehand. So either one would probably work out there. But anyway, so that was that. I just started trying to write down all the information about my events. I want to, because as time went on last year, even though I had all the information, I had to go searching for it all the time. Now I want to kind of make myself, I wrote it down right now, but I kind of want to make myself something I can search on my computer real quickly. Oh, do I have that? Okay, when is that? How much time? But it's nice to write it out too. I'm a very analog person. I come from the older generation where we used to do that stuff. So I kind of like both worlds. So, but anyway, so I started that. I also started thinking about booth layout. So I'm working on that, which has to do with my other thing I want to talk about. I'm not sure about this. I was just starting to sketch, and I haven't measured all this out yet, but I was toying with the idea of, this is the front of the tent here. I don't even know if you can see this very well, but this is the front of the tent here. I was thinking of putting my big table in the middle here and having people kind of go around it, and possibly putting my smaller 4-foot table here in the corner, depending on how that fits. And then my checkout area over here. And then on the sides, I want to put thinner stuff like my grid wall. And I want to make, I've been thinking about this for a while. I want to make a more like more adapted to my needs pegboard, something that's better. So I want to work on that. Basically, it's a long story, but anyway, they're also, so at my in-laws' place in the garage, my father-in-law had a bunch of wooden pegboard up like on his walls, and I'm thinking of taking that, if I can get it down properly, and using it to make these things. So hopefully I can do that. Otherwise I'll buy some, because I've been thinking about doing this anyway. Like I said, I was thinking about buying some. So if I can do that, great. If I can't, then I'll buy some. But I want to make something functional. But I also want to do it where like I can use it in different ways. Like I can use it in a tent setup, like the pegboard part. And like right now, I haven't figured all this out yet, but right now I'm thinking of kind of like doing kind of an easel situation. It's kind of what I was starting to draw down here, where the pegboard's at the top, and then maybe on the bottom, because I don't want to waste that space, putting like hooks where I could hang my door hangers off of on the bottom instead of up on the grid, you know, or on a pegboard, because they take up a lot of space too. But also having options where I might be able to put it like on a tabletop instead, like slide it in like a contraption I can put underneath the table that I can hold the pegboard up, you know. I'm trying to like where I could slide it into both options depending on which one I need that day or whatever. Like that's what I'm trying to do basically. I know it sounds complicated, but like I think it would help. Like that's why I want to do it like my way or whatever, you know, trying to get exactly what I need in the most efficient way possible. But anyway, I'm starting to think about that. So that's something I'm doing. Also, I started to make a list of things I either want to buy or make for my vendor events, like the thing I was just talking about, but also like I'm thinking about making actual banners to go in my booth, and making them, again, if I get my sewing stuff going, making a banner out of fabric, and then, you know, either embroidering my logo on it and whatever else I want to, or doing like, again, an applique sort of thing to put information on it. But then it's easier to transport and put up than a paper for sure. But also, so I had bought like vinyl banners that I was going to paint. I think I'm going to end up probably trying to sell those because I'd rather do this basically. So going to be doing that. Portable page, that's what I was talking about. So the again, I wish because I don't like adding things to this video because I like to make it like easier to edit. But if you can remember in past videos, maybe I'll add a picture. I had this like sign that I made that was sort of like a door, like a, not a door, porch leaner sign, like just a thin board that was just kind of leaning up against my tent most of the time, or a table or something. And it said, visit Shrush Design, and it had like an arrow. My problem with it is, and I still want to use it, but the problem is I can only point the arrow one way. So if I have other layouts, I would like an option to either point it the other way or just make one that doesn't have an arrow at all so that I can use it in those situations. And I was thinking of doing it on the back side because the back is blank right now. But I could also just make a different one. I'm not sure. But I want to do something like that for that kind of sign. I want to, for my tables, I want to make like again with the sewing thing, I want to make my own like tablecloths that fit my needs exactly, basically. Because right now, what I was using was for my big one, and sometimes, well, if I had the bench on it too, like I would use these two king size, I think they're king, maybe queen size, just navy blue sheets, because my brand is navy blue and white, and sometimes like an accent lighter blue. So I had navy blue sheets that I was using for tablecloths. I would like something more fitted, but like specifically for the use I'm using them for. Like I don't like especially when I'm using a bench on top, I don't like the wasted space underneath the bench that doesn't get used. because there's a cloth over it. Like, you can kind of shove things in there a little bit, but like when you put the bench on top of the big table, there's space underneath there. Like, there's legs that come down, and there's like hinges for the legs and whatever. I don't know what they're called. But there's space there that you could possibly put something in, because when you put a bench on, then you're taking away half of your real estate, like depth-wise, of the table, where I'd be able to slide things like underneath the bench, but still have the bench covered so it looks a little, you know, more put together and professional. So I'm trying to work on something there with that especially. But also my other tables as well, because I could possibly put things under my table as well, depending on that. So I have to figure that all out and make, you know, proper covers for them and stuff like that. That's all stuff I want to work on. Also, with my checkout stand, which is my portable bar thing, I want to make a different, I wanted for a while to make a different like wrap for that. The one that's there is fine for now, but I'd like to make something better. So I want to do that with fabric and Velcro and stuff. Hook and loop, I shouldn't say Velcro. I'm gonna get in trouble. Because there's already a hook and loop like system in there already. So I would do that with my new fabric. But also I want to make something too where if I use both checkout stands, like in a corner formation or in the long formation, I've never done that, but I could. I could, you know, do something where I'm able to do that like differently or whatever, like where I could still like have my logo on it, but like have it be centered, you know. It's a whole thing. I'm trying to work on that. That's a thing I have to figure out. But I also, so other things, well, one, for my canopy, my new canopy that I have, because my dad bought me a new one, I haven't technically put that up yet. I have a video on the channel where I unboxed it, but I haven't actually put the canopy up yet and actually used it, especially not with the top on. So I need to do that at some point, but it might not be until like the spring when I can do it outside, because I've done it in my living room before. There's not enough space. I can probably do it in the basement maybe, or the garage. But anyway, I want to get that as figured out with the stuff I have, because I have a screen tent that I've been using for my walls, my side walls, but the canopy that came with, and I've talked about this a few times, the canopy that came with specifically to use on, the frame is broken on that one. Well, again, I blame myself, but I wasn't there when it was happening. I mean, I was nearby, but I wasn't supervising when it was happening, and that's why I blame myself. But I didn't break it. That's what I'm trying to say. It got broken. Nice passive voice there. It got broken, so I wasn't able to use it anymore. Got a cheap canopy that I used for my tents last year, which I didn't really have a problem with for the most part. Like, it was working fine. I still might use it at certain events this year, but my dad wanted to get me a new one because he's like, well, you got a cheap one, you need a better one or whatever. There are nice things about it, like it has a vent in the top, which was nice. I was looking for one with a vent in the top because mine didn't have that. It's cheap. It also has drainage holes in the top, which in some circumstances, like when it rains, well, that's the reason it's there anyway. But like, it keeps from like pooling on the top, which was a problem with my canopy that I have been using. Every time it did rain, which I only really encountered that twice in my whole career so far. But we had to like poke it so that the rain would come down because it would start pooling on it. Well, now it has the little drainage hole, so it's not going to do that. But, you know, it's going to then start dripping into the tent. So I have to find a way to deal with that. Depends on what it really is. Like, depends on how bad it's raining too. I don't know. But I'll figure that out. But it was something that I liked because then it doesn't pool on it. And if you leave it, for instance, one of the times I dealt with rain, it was like overnight when I did my 3-day event in July last year for the July 4th festival. One of the times I dealt with rain was like overnight. When I came back in the morning, everything was all like, and it was pooled on it, and like there was things wet inside and stuff. But if it had the drainage hole and I kept things away from the holes overnight, then it wouldn't have been as bad, you know? So, for instance, if I was going to do that same event this year or something similar where it was a multi-day event outside, I would use the drainage hole one for sure for that. But anyway, so I have, what I was saying is the screen tent. It didn't quite fit on, we made it work, but it didn't quite fit on the canopy I had last year. I'm not sure if it fits better on the one I have now. But also, one of the problems was, like, for the most part, it was fine. But when I couldn't stake in, and when, like, people would, like certain organizers are like, you need weights with your tent, like, even if you are staked in or whatever. So the weights, well, most other weights anyway, but the weights that I have specifically, I wasn't really able to use when I had the screen tent up, especially in the back, because the screen tent is like, you can close it in the front, but we usually didn't have it. We just had it rolled up. So like I could still put my weights on those poles, but the ones in the back were covered because the screen tent was like inside. So what I'm looking for is mesh walls, and I've seen some like this, mesh walls for a 10 by 10 canopy that are separate walls, like all 4 or 3. I probably don't need 4, you know, so that I can put those up instead on my tent. So I could still put my weights up, but also it's like adjustable, you know, like maybe I don't want a wall on this side, but I do on this side. But, you know, it'd be harder to do with like 2 sides open with my mesh walls that I have now. We could do the one because the door is there and you can zip it in, or you can roll it to the sides. But when you have like for instance, I had the corner the one time at the last fall at the fairgrounds indoors. I didn't put my screen tent up because we were indoors. I didn't need it anyway. But if I were to do that outside, like have a corner like that, then I would have to do something weird or whatever to make it work. Whereas if I have separate ones, I just put 2 up and not 3 or 4, you know? So I'm looking for those, looking into buying those, because I don't think I can make those, you know, that's a buy thing. As far as also with the rain, I didn't have to deal with it that much. Like I said, the one event that I did last year, it rained at the very end of it, and it was a lot of rain. I would like to have, in case of, you know, inclement weather, clear tarps I can put down at least on the back and the sides of my tent, even the front maybe too, but have the option where I don't have to necessarily take them to every event, because if I'm not expecting rain, or if it's only going to rain a little bit or whatever, but if I'm expecting like a big downpour, I would have them available where they're kind of rolled up, and then if it starts raining I can roll them down and use them, and then roll them back up if it stops raining. And then, you know, so I want to do like clear tarps. Like I was thinking shower curtains, but I think clear tarps is probably better. And I want them clear so that you can see in. And I also don't, I mean, this is kind of what this is, but I don't want solid walls. That's why I do mesh. Now, if you have the solid walls, as far as rain goes, that does help, where the rain, you know, it can't get in as well. The mesh does let it come in a little bit, you know, but the wind, when you have mesh or solid walls, is a problem. I do have the vent in top, which is better, this new canopy. But like I've observed people that have like solid walls and the wind is going and it's like it's flapping and it turns you into like a sail. Whereas when I had the mesh walls, it's still kind of flapping a little bit, but the air is still able to move through, but it still breaks it a little, like it's a windbreaker, you know? Like it breaks it up a little bit, but it doesn't like pull your tent out of the stakes or anything like that with a heavy wind. So if it was like windy and rainy, I might have to like poke holes in my tarp, basically is what I'm trying to say, which would be fine. Like it would probably let a little bit of the moisture in, or the water, the rain, but I don't think Like it would block most of it. You know? I'm still kind of thinking through this, but I don't like the idea of having solid walls. It really like irritates me. Like I'd rather have the mesh. So I'm trying to figure out that as well as far as rain/wind, you know? The walls of my tent I'm trying to figure out. But I have until, you know, possibly May, possibly July to figure that out. So depends on when, you know, my next event is outdoors. But anyway, so I have new weights or make new weights. So the ones I have are fine. I have the kind that you fill with water and then like wrap them to the tent legs. And that's why when, like I said, I had the screen tent, I couldn't wrap the last two around technically. I could do the bottom part, but not that, like, because they have like 3 rings of wrap this around your tent pole. And I can only do the bottom one because the screen tent's in the way. But like if I had, because I know people do like a PVC pipe and they fill it with cement and then they put like a cap on it and then they like have that attached to both the bottom and the top of their tent, and it's very thin. Like I could possibly do that behind that screen tent, have something like that, as long as it's heavy enough. They also have like the plate weights that you can put on your tent. I thought about getting those, but the reason I like my water ones is they're easier to store. Like they take up less space, and you know, they can be flexible where I can put like a little bit of water, I can put a lot of water, you know, and I just prefer, that's why I picked them to begin with. That's why I like them, but I'm not sure. I'm still looking at options for tent weights. I mean, they worked fine. Like I didn't ever have any problem with my tent like flying away or anything like that. I didn't have super windy days where I wasn't staked down. Like, because when you do like a parking lot or something, you can't stake. And sometimes people don't want you to stake into the grass or anything else. So, but any time where I dealt with wind, it was always times that I was staked down. So I don't know how good my weights are, you know? So I have to kind of figure that out. I said that. The one thing I didn't mention is so my vending machine, I haven't mentioned it in a while actually, so if you haven't heard about my vending machine, I have this tabletop vending machine, and I brought I didn't bring it to the last couple events at all, but there were a bunch of them that I brought it to and no one used, and then I got some people to use it occasionally, but I want to work on that whole thing all together, but I also want to make like a certain like stand for it that's going to be sturdy and hold it, because it is kind of heavy. And like there's certain tables that I have that I don't want to put it on because I feel like it's going to fall over, like it's not very sturdy. Like for the most part, like my 6-foot table, my 4-foot table, I could put them on there, no problem. But like the smaller tables I have, or my checkout stand is also a little like wobbly. I don't like putting it on there. So I need somewhere to put it, but also that could be more of an advertisement for it, that more visual, so people would pay attention to it more, you know? So I want to work on something for that. I don't really have much of an idea for that yet other than make it sturdy. So that's what I've been trying to figure out, like sporadically through all this other chaos I've been going through. And I want to work on more of that stuff also. But then I was printing stuff out today. I had made all of these like a long time ago. So I have these blank like calendars that I can make any month, you know, and fill in the dates. So I got 12 of these ready for this year coming up. I want to make like, I had started doing this like years and years ago with my business. And before that, I had kind of gotten into like bullet journaling and stuff like that. So I wanted to do something like that for this, but then I just went crazy, you know, and I wasn't able to keep up with it. So I want to kind of do something like that eventually, but right now I'm printing stuff out. Basically is what I'm trying to say. So I have daily, which is just like the days of the week and like just separated. Like it's not anything super special. But I want to start planning out like which days. Obviously, I'm probably not going to start until next week with this, but we might fill some of this out later in the video. I also have these, which these were something I made a long time ago. And they're mainly for my other, well, channels, I should say. Like this is a vlog channel, so I just kind of film and I edit very lightly and I just put it in. I just upload it. I don't do much to it. That's the way they're designed. But my other channels, like I try to make them a little more put together and whatnot. So this is supposed to help me plan those. Like I had made this myself. Like video planning, I'm working title of the video, which, you know, might change over time. The estimated upload date, description, you know, a brief description of what I want to do in this video. Brain dump, which is kind of my planning, like just, oh, okay, do this and do this and do this, but just kind of sporadic, like, or just kind of random, like on the paper, just scratching it out and then organizing it later. Ideas for the thumbnail, and then clips and shorts and reels that I can get from this video. Or, you know, existing ones that I can put with it or whatever. Then the next step of like organizing all the chaos, like outline of how I want the video to go, and then filming notes for like ahead of time, like, oh, I should film this way, you know, from this angle, or, you know, whatever. Like that's what that's supposed to be. And then this is just a page of editing notes. So as I'm editing, like timestamps, like what should I do to this or whatever. And then on the back, there's a couple copies. This is the end of it. So this is like planning for actual upload. So my final description of what the video is, what I want written there, the timestamps of like the final timestamps of like chapters in a video. I don't always do that, but sometimes. But I like to do that in most of my videos. Then I have like related videos and playlists, so I can remind myself, oh yeah, I did that video. Like make sure I put that in there. And then hashtags and keywords, basically. So I had made these a while ago. I do want to start using these for my more put together videos, so I can start planning those, because that's another thing I have to start doing. Speaking of, so this, I was down there printing stuff, so I printed these out finally too. I've been making these the last couple weeks, and I finally printed them out. So this is related to my vendor events that I was just talking about. But I want to make a video. Like I said, I have a series on my other channel that was related to my vendor events, like tutorial based stuff, and I want to do like a recap video of last year. Haven't got this out yet, obviously, but I started making graphs and stuff for it, so I can start planning that out, which maybe I should use that for. But anyway, so I'll just show you a few real quick here, a few of the graphs I made. Now, I mean, these don't matter as much, but I have more later that I probably should have made the same scale, and I didn't. But anyway, so this one is daily revenue. So this is per day revenue for the events I did. So one event I did, the New Berlin 4th of July, it was the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of July last year. It was a 3-day event. I'd kind of said that earlier. So these are the separate days of that event. I actually thought about, while I was looking at this, I'm like, well, maybe I should have made one just for event total, but that's the only like multi-day event I have. So anyway, so this is the chart, and they go in order of, you know, how I did them. This as a whole is very close to this. I had $46. This is $48, which is the night market one that I was talking about. And I was like, ooh, I blew all my sales records out, which was per event, but also per day, because I didn't have any close to that for the day. So I was like, ooh, $48 per day. That was pretty good, you know? And I started tracking my hourly sales too. But anyway, so that was how that went. And then the next one is the fall at the fairgrounds, where I said, like, yep, I did that pretty good. Like this one, the Maker's Market, this is the fall one, the one where it rained I was just talking about. That one was pretty good, but not quite as good as my, you know, my night market one. So, but I was pretty satisfied with that one, and I think I can do good. In fact, I like the customers at that one. They were exceptionally nice, or whatever. Also, I got 2 people to use my vending machine at that one, so it was great. But anyway, this is kind of visually show you how things went. Like this is, I had the good one here, and then ooh, I got an even better one, and then ooh, an even better one. You know, that was the Whisker Wonderland one I did last year, which you're gonna see in the charts. Like it blew everything else away. But you know, mainly I wasn't making very much money. And just to show you, so I have my profit per event. I have kind of a waterfall graph here. This is 0 here, and this is all negative. So the New Berlin first event that I did, the 3-day thing, and this is the whole event as a whole, not the daily. I only lost $4 because I only paid $50 to be in part of that one, and I made $46, so I almost got it back there. But all the rest of these here, even the good ones I did, the like I said, the night market and the fall at the fairgrounds, I didn't make my fee back. This is how much money I lost at all those. Then at this one, I made $1 profit. And then I made $18 because that was the one I paid 0 for. And then my Whisker Wonderland, even that though, like I made $58 profit. Would have been nice if I could have made those at all my events, you know, then I could have actually made some money. But that's how my year went, basically, with my vendor events. Small wins, but no profit, basically. And then I also did like a revenue per hour type thing at all my events. And this is the Whisker Wonderland one where I made, I think it's 26. I don't have the exact number here, and I don't have my chart right now. But I think it was like 26 something per hour at that event. And the rest of them, not so great. Like the night market one, I made almost 10. The fall at the fairgrounds one, I made a little more than 10. It was probably like 11 per hour, which, you know, is not even minimum wage anymore, you know. Back in my day, though. Whew. But anyway, and that's just the fee, not taking into account like the materials I made the stuff with and like what I paid for that. Like that's not included. It's just events. So that's how well it's been going so far, you know. So then this is the one. So I went through each event and I did like hourly how I made. I didn't make these all the same scale though, which is kind of the problem. Where if we look at them next to each other, like they may look similar, but this one's only $8 and this one, the big bar, is 15, where they kind of look similar, you know, because I didn't make them the same scale. So, but it was just kind of compare like the day, how they went. You know, I just kind of curious how my hourly sales went at each event. So I did one for each day here. I probably could do, for this one, do like the event and then do the times per day and separate all that out and put them on the same scale. But it wasn't that great to begin with anyway. But this one, for instance, I think this might be the only event where I had something every hour where I sold, and this was the night market one. And it was very busy. And that's why I felt so great after this one. I'm like, wow, people are coming in here buying stuff just over and over again. Man, if I had more stuff, I bet you I'd make more money, you know? And this was very early on too. This was like the first event I did, this 3-day one. And then this was the second one, you know? So getting back into the rhythm of it and actually taking it seriously. But anyway, so that's kind of what's going on there. So I have these for all my events. But this is even the fall at the fairgrounds one, which I did better money-wise at, well, at least revenue-wise, not profit. I think night market was actually better profit. If I look at that, let's see. Where's my profit one? Yeah, it was, but not as much as I thought. Like it was, so I only lost $32 at the night market, and I lost $57 at fall at the fairgrounds because it was more expensive to get into. But it was pretty similar. But anyway, this one was the first hour I was like, oh my God, this is awful. But then it started getting better. So, but then there were a few other hours where I didn't sell anything either. So, you know, but like this hour, this was my hourly, like, ooh, I blew that out of the water, my hourly sales goal. But again, this is another thing where I think I want to make another graph where I compare like the best hour at each event and show that. I think I need to do that graph as well. I haven't done that yet. But anyway, because I want to do this on my main video where I kind of talk about the stats and like the facts of the event, each event that I did. I kind of plan for next year. So I got to start doing that too. But anyway, so this is, at the time that was like, ooh, that's the best hour I've ever had. And I didn't do bad here with the next event that I made money at, basically. I think that was before that. These may be out of order a little bit, but this one was $29, and my best hour at this one was $39. So this is why I want to make that chart, because each event I'd like to see how much it was. I don't have the number on this, but I know it was 18, because this is the Kohl's event where I didn't pay anything to be there, but I only made $18, but it was an $18 profit at the time, and it was like, wow, that's my best profit, like, so far. And then, like, the Kohler event, like, if you look at this graph, looks pretty well, but it really didn't go that well. Like, this is $8 here, this is $4, and this is $8. Like, it looks like, oh, I made a lot of money compared to this one, you know, or the other ones. No, not the same scale. The Whisker Wonderland event, this hour, the 12 o'clock hour, I got 44, which was 39 was my hourly. Now it was 44, and then the next hour I got 46. So I'm like, oh, even better. Like, I broke it twice at that event. So, and then this one, again, looks like a big old bar. This is only $5. That's all I had at that one. And then this is my last event that I did. So, are these in order now? Did I mess these up? So I do need to make that graph that I was talking about. I do want to do that one. I will probably either show you at the end of this video, because I'm going to work on that very soon, or another one, but I'd rather put on this video because I'm already talking about it here, so. Okay, so I'm breaking my voiceover rule here just to give you a quick look at this graph that I made, the one I was just talking about. So I'm going to do my analysis of this on my other channel when I do my 2025 recap video, but this is just to show you this is the graph that I was talking about, so if you want to take a look. Again, that's kind of what I've been working on here sporadically while I was trying to work on everything else. Now the rest of that's calming down a little bit, so I should be able to do more business stuff now. So again, the rest of this video I want to maybe work on a planning exercise with you to show you how I do it. And then the next video, we're either maybe or going to be working on similar stuff with different topics. And then I want to do also, like I said, all of my like business areas in my house are a mess right now, and I need to clean them in order to get myself ready to start working on stuff, which is something I need to start doing. So I need to do that too. So that's going to be on, we already did that once in the basement on, I think it was very early, one of my early vlogs on this channel, when I started cleaning that area. I have to clean it again, and I have to clean my office area that I have up here. I also have to kind of figure out now, because I have two areas basically, two main areas where things are going to go exactly with those. Like which things stay up here and which things go down there. What activities am I going to be doing in that area versus this area, kind of thing. So, and I have to, because I already did that at some point, sort of, but I have to kind of adjust it, basically, based on new stuff. So that's all stuff I need to figure out. So we're going to be working on that the next couple of videos here. It's going to be, like I said, a little boring. It's all behind the scenes stuff, but then we're gonna start working on stuff, actually start making stuff again, start preparing for the vendor stuff. We're gonna be making videos about that. So but anyway, so let's stop yapping right now, and then you'll see me either later today or tomorrow or Friday, or I should say, working on stuff, actually working on stuff, like working on planning stuff. You're gonna see that instead of me yapping. So let's get to that. Hello, it is Friday, January 16th. I figured I was gonna just do a quick closing to this video because I realized when I finished filming my last portion of this that you just saw was very long, and I figured I probably don't want to put more on this video So we're gonna start the next video doing the stuff I said I was gonna do, like doing the actual planning with you and stuff. Although I did do some more planning, I've been doing it. Also, if you notice, I'm in a different vehicle. I had to help my parents with one of my mom's appointments at where they can't park this big van in, so I have to like help them. So that's why I'm here. But I figured I might as well film this real quick so I can close out this video and then start doing the other one later on tonight or tomorrow for the next video. So like I said, I did do some more planning. Got a list of videos I want to make for my main channel. I got it. Actually, I could show you this real quick, although I'll go in depth with it next time more. Wait, not that. Sorry, one more. I made like a general weekly schedule, which I've done in the past too. So it's kind of adjusted now. Not that I stuck to it anyway, but so now because my husband works now 4 days, like he's out of the house 4 days where he goes into the office. It used to be 3 days, now it's 4 days. So Monday through Thursday, those are the days he's gone. I have all that time to do filming and voiceovers and stuff. I just, for most cases, most of my filming I like to do when, you know, no one's there watching me, for one thing, or listening to me. So now I have like that whole block of time where I can get that done. And then at the end of the day, whenever I film, like hopefully that same day, at the end of the day, I go through and I you know, start looking at what I filmed and clip it out to something more useful before I start my editing process. So this is like, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, whatever I've done today, I need to go through and get done. So that's pretty much, you know, the first half of the week or so. And then Friday, which like today, I'm kind of doing this, planning and education, which means like if I want to like learn something new, you know. And then home stuff, home, and I don't even know what that says. Oh, it says home stuff. Okay. And then like at the end of the day or during the day sometime, editing and uploading is going to happen like the second half of the week generally. Not necessarily, it wouldn't happen here, but you know. And then I also have like other stuff, like if I have something I need to work on for a client or whatever, that would probably be more in this day, but it could also be here too, just wherever I find time for it. But this is just as far as like the filming videos and stuff like that kind of schedule. But anyway, so this, like the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, is more of a rest slash home and more low key. And then I try to get like most of my work done the first 4 days of the week. Monday, I start my weeks on Monday. So I'm gonna see how that works out. Like I'm gonna try to, you know, work like that. It's a guideline. It doesn't have to actually be the case, but you know, I think that will help. So it's something I started trying to figure out. Now I'm also trying to figure out like what kind of activities are going to happen in my first floor office that I have, which is a very small room, versus the basement area that I have that we've been to and we have to clean again at some point. So I'm trying to like, okay, what needs to go upstairs, what needs to go down to the basement, and figuring all that out. So that's another thing I've been working on. So like I said, we're gonna do some planning in the next video, actual like organizing and planning and stuff, and then we're gonna, in the next couple of videos, we're gonna be cleaning certain areas and stuff and getting everything in order so I can start, you know, actually doing things. So I know, like I said, this is kind of boring compared to like a lot of the other videos, but we're getting back into it. So thanks for watching, and I will talk to you in the next video.